Hello guys, Lee is here. Guess what? I'm a poet and I didn't even know I was a faggot, but I mean, we got past that now. As always, I just want to start off by apologizing for the shitty quality in everything I do. It's kind of my little watermark right now. And today I wanted to, give my thoughts on better RP server management, and this is something I've had a lot of experience in. I've been co-owner slash owner slash every rank under the book for an RP server for the past year and 3 months now, I think. So it's a topic which I feel I'm well versed in, and I want to cover a lot of different smaller topics or subtopics under management of RP servers. Just to let you know, I'm not going to be going into the nitty gritty coding stuff. I'm not going to tell you how to add plugins or mods or anything because I don't know myself. I never was privy to that information. I was just the gameplay guy rather than the coding guy. So I'm going to start by I want to start by talking about some of the more administration aspects of running an RP server, just not stuff in game that you can actually see. And I want to start off by talking about staff, which is arguably the most important thing in a RP server and what you have to get right. And I mean, in my experience, I have not got it right on multiple occasions, and you suffer for it. So it's really important to make sure you have staff down pat. To begin with, let's talk about staff ranks. Now, obviously, you want multiple staff ranks for people to progress through, each with their own different permissions. Now, your most basic stuff is you get a trial moderator. He goes on trial for maybe 1-2 weeks, longer depending on how much you want to vet them. Then you move up to your real generic ranks, moderator, maybe give them a couple months on mod, and then after that an admin, couple months on that, and then any higher tier staff you have after that. You may have a head admin, owners, co-owners, server managers, anything along those lines. And you just want to make sure that you have those ranks clearly defined and have a good hierarchy about what you want to do. I can give you an example here. This is my personal server's hierarchy. If you just include the ex-owners, you can see through all that. So we've got trial mod, then moderator, admin, mentor as a bot, head admin, co-owner, server manager, and owner. Our top tier stuff right now is kind of stuffed up, so we've got co-owners and server manager. I'm the server manager, and a bunch of my friends are the co-owners, and my friend is the owner, obviously. Then you also notice under trial moderator, we have suspended and registered leave. So suspended obviously goes to having anyone that you've put on strike for doing something wrong or something. So they're not staff for a certain period of time. Then registered leave is when someone leaves for a long period of time, and they let you know that they're not going to be on to actually moderate or admin the server. And staff under that is just a generic rank we have, so we can put them in chats without actually have to listing every single staff rank, just to make Discord a bit more streamlined and easy. So just want to talk about how staff should behave. And when I talk about that, I mean, obviously they need to be nice. That's just a thing. They need to be, communicating with the community, talking, interacting, doing all that sort of stuff. And they need to have the right tools to do this. And you need to make sure that some of them have access to these tools and some of them don't. You don't want to overuse admins and the admin command, because then you get so much staff abuse, just people slash I when they want, and all this other stuff, and it turns into a really dirty thing. Should really consider having something like the warns plugin. Works really well for RP servers. You can have one warn, two warns. It just works by /warn space player name, and eventually the bans get longer and longer until you can have it either a permanent ban or a 7-day ban, and then the warns reset after a week or however long you have it set. And also the /duty plugin. It's really useful for RP servers, making sure that your admins can be on duty and off duty. So when they're RPing or when they're playing in their groups, you don't want them on duty because that just causes problems, people calling staff abuse and all that. So you really don't want them on duty then. But then when they are helping, obviously they need to be on duty. And something I want to finish with for staff is you really need a scapegoat staff member. And it's hard to explain this role you need to give it to someone you trust. Now, for my server, personally, I was the scapegoat staff member. So any decision that no one's going to like but needs to be done, any ban that just has to be done, no matter what the consequences, you need one staff member to be that. I normally refer to them as the arsehole admin, and I refer to myself as the arsehole admin. This guy needs to lay down the law and not give a fuck about what people think, because then it helps you as the staff actually progress and, take those hard decisions, but lay them on someone else and not have people backlashing at your entire server just at that one staff member. So finish the staff. I want to move on to rules, and this is a really short subject. So when you are crafting your rules, you just need to make sure that they are really precise, as people will use them to argue against you, and they'll find loopholes and take words and stretch them around and make them mean different things. And whenever you do encounter a problem, you should always be just changing your rules to fit what you need. So just keep changing. I would personally, if you've definitely got the rules on the Discord, have the person to post the rules be someone that you know is active, knows trusted, and has a good grasp of the rules, so he can change them whenever he sees a problem. And make sure to report problems to him whenever you see a problem or have to deal with that. Some examples for rules, if you guys do need a large example, I'll have a link to my Discord for my server in the description, and you can check that out if you go to the rules and guidelines chat on the Discord. I mean, if you want to take those rules, you can. I do ask you change them quite a bit so they aren't the exact copy, because that can be annoying. But if you want to use them as a template to build from, that's perfectly fine by me. You can just copy them and add and change a lot of it. Please just don't straight up copy them. And so speaking of the Discord is your homepage. It's where everything will go down. Every argument, every donation, every suggestion, everything will go down on your Discord. So you need to make sure that you have a well-managed Discord, because it's just absolutely essential. You need chats for everything from suggestions, complaints, staff applications, police applications, general memes if you want it. You really need everything. You need guides, events, announcements, rules, all of that. Here's an example again of my Discord. You can look down on the left-hand side, all the chats we have, and it scrolls down a lot further than that. You also need your staff chats, all that. That's pretty much self-explanatory. I think everyone knows how that works. And then also, just for in-game, you need to make sure you have a Discord webhook. That means it's a webhook plugin where if someone types /Discord or a certain command in-game, it gives them a link to your Discord. It's very essential if you want new players to actually stick to your server. And this is going to be the toughest. I want to move on to donations, and it's just the toughest one to do, right? Because there's so many things you have to worry about. Most of all is pay to win, because you're going to have your non-donators and you're going to have your donators. And obviously you really need to care about your donators, because they're the ones that have contributed to your server to keeping it alive, and you need to keep them happy because they might donate again. And it's every owner's worst nightmare to actually maintain the balance between non-donators, because you need to also keep them happy or your server gets bad reputation. You don't get any players and you don't get any more donators. So you need to really try and keep that balance. So with the theme of balance, you need to make sure your kits are balanced as well as you can, and only include items that all players can get through by just playing the game. So don't include grizzlies and in like a sniper kit for a donator, but you can't get a grizzly any other way except I guess robbing that donator. It's really tough, and people complain because once people can't get something, that thing instantly becomes OP. It happens in military RP servers where two teams use two different weapons and they both say the other weapon is OP because they can't use it. It's just a feature of the human brain that's really annoying when it comes to donations. Moving on to ranks for donations, you want to add perks for ranks. Obviously you got your normal stuff like get 20k, get /home or /TPA, some real simple stuff. But you want to try and add perks that donators can see and use, but it's harder for actual players to see them in game, because it limits the pay to winness that players feel, even if it still is there, and it just helps with keeping that balance. Like I said, for example, I have on my server, we have a server run shop by an admin called IKEA, where donors get a certain percent off their shop, but I never say it out loud, like, oh yeah, 10% because you're a donator. Just, it keeps people, they know that they're getting the 10% off, and they know that they're getting cheaper, but not everyone else does, and it just helps keep that balance. If you need any ideas for donator ranks, again, here's some examples from my Discord. Again, check it out, link in the description if you would like. You can go through, check all that. Again, template if you want to take it, change it, do whatever you want. Try and add as many perks as you can. That's another thing I'll add. That's a basic sales tip. Just add as many perks as you can, but make sure they're good. So we're done with the administration side and the kind of not gameplay side, rather. So I want to talk about some of the gameplay things you can do. And I want to start off by talking about cops. Now, 3 points about cops. Cops need a chief / a leader, or whatever you want to call him. They need good pay and good weapons. And they need to be applying for cops. You can't just have a slush job cops, because that's just AIDS. If you have all 3 of these things, your cops will actually be good. If you miss out on any of them, they're gonna be shit. Like, cops have the worst job in the game. Worse than admins, in my opinion. No one really wants to be a cop. They are that terrible of a job to be. So you need to give them perks to actually entice people to be cops. You need, again, good pay, good weapons, good leaders, and a sense of team with the applying format, so that they can, feel like they're doing something and they're part of something. That's really all I have to say. Cops. I'm going to move on to events, which isn't really a big thing. You do want to do events. I'd say about weekly events is probably good if you're feeling risky. Try and do, I don't know, 3 events a week. It's also quite good. But I would try and stick to just weekly events. You want good prizes, so money, guns, weapons, same thing. And just anything you can think of people really want, because events just keep people interested. They keep people coming back, because especially if you don't do them on a schedule, you just say event now, people will be on expecting an event, expecting to get, have the chance to get really good loot and really good money. So it just keeps people on the server. And I mean, there's so many events you can do. You can do Easter egg hunts or races, hide and seek. There's just really anything you can think of. You can do paintball matches would be another good one. As much as you want to do and feel comfortable organizing, you should definitely do, because it just keeps people enticed into the game. And I want to finish off with the map, which is a big part of the of how people are going to feel, because obviously it's what they play on, and it's something more when on an RP map compared to a survival map. The map means more. So when looking through map design, you should really try and have lots of houses for people to buy, but they need to be spread across multiple towns. A good way of doing this, I'll put up an example for my map right now that my server is running. We have sections of the area or sections of towns where houses cost less, depending on how far they are away from spawn. So this just helps spread people out. It gives it more of a full feel when you're actually playing and you drive somewhere and you see someone, but also more importantly, it keeps lag down a lot, like a lot. And lag is one of the worst enemies in an RP server, where there's so many objects and so many things being placed and done, because there's no, resetting, no damage, there's not constant raiding. Some other things you want to work out is you really want lots of money earning ways. It keeps people engaged, keeps people doing different things, not getting repetitive. You've got your normal stuff like tree chopping, mushroom picking, berry picking, fishing. But then you'll notice on my map we've also got multiple different mines, because there's a mod called Scrapes RP that you can use, and it has stuff like copper, oil, gold, and diamond. And while it's not completely different from scrap, it's pretty simple, it does add an extra few steps. It's good to use because it just, makes it different, makes it interesting and new. And then you also see we've got Apple Valley up the top and Avocado Isle down the bottom, which is Robocrast's tree mod, which is also a very good resource mod that you can use, and that just, you know, again, gets new ways of earning money, puts in, revitalizes the economy, new foods, new everything, just looks cool. And you want to have these, as I have on the map, you need these spread out, and like you want people traveling again to make that full feel, but also to give it kind of more realistic feel where you do have to travel to get stuff. You don't want it all centered in one town, everything you want. So spread everything out. And also, like the last thing I want to touch on is have a lot of high-end housing, because you're going to have your elites on the server, you know, your millionaires, billionaires, whatever your money system is like. So you want really high-end housing for the really rich, like aircraft carriers, bunkers, and mansions. But also, again, make sure they're spread out. They're not near spawn, they're away, so people can't really see them and get jealous and try other things and complain that people have this much money. Just helps the feel and overall like of the game by your player base. That's all I have to talk about with Unturned. I know this was a bit more rambling. I hope you enjoyed the improvements I made with the editing, actually including what I'm putting in the video and what I'm talking about, while also having the background Unturned gameplay. Thank you for listening, and as always, don't be a cunt.